What's up guys, Mr. Scanlon here, and in this video we're going to be talking about the Python Programming 8 chapter. Now hold on a second, we did 6 in the last video, and then there wasn't anything for chapter 7. Why wasn't there a chapter 7 video, and why were we just going to 8 now? Well, the reason, and this may change in the future, is because chapter 7 is mostly about additional functions and stuff like that for concepts you've already learned, like strings and stuff like that, and you already learned a little bit about Booleans, and it's basically just talking more about how some of those things work and then trying to get you to practice more with them. Um, I didn't think it warranted a video since the explanations were pretty straightforward in Chapter 7, but definitely Chapter 8 because it's some new stuff, some new concepts, wanted to make a video for it. Alright, so Chapter 8 here is all about functions. At the top I mentioned about how you guys need to basically not repeat yourself in the code. So if you ever find yourself like maybe doing like, well this is a bad example, but maybe like you're printing like the same stuff off like again and again. You know, maybe this could probably be, oops, this one right here could probably be solved with like a loop or something like that. But if you're doing like too many things in a row, and you know, what if like, oh, I need to change this one right here, or like what if you notice like, oh, I don't want 5, like I want it to be like 6 instead of 5. Well, now I have to go in here and change like every little thing. Well, what if you're at like a really big business or something like that, or you're working on a really huge project, like a really big mobile app or something. And this is true for like you have many pages worth of code that you have to change because you messed up on one little thing, and now you're realizing, well, I copied and pasted everything, so I have to go through and change, things many times over. That's basically where this idea of functions comes in, and it's basically a way of taking your code and saving it for later, while also being able to retain uh, some significance for whatever you're doing at that point in the program. That might not make a whole lot of sense right now, and of course my phone just rings while we're doing this. Um, anyways, so functions, basically I'm just going to go through like how to do it in the code here. So to go over like an example one, we're just going to go over something that basically adds two things together. So I'm just going to call it sum it up. This is the same thing as in the chapter. And then in here you could just leave it with parentheses, or you could write parameters. For this example I'm going to use some parameters. So I'm going to say A and B. Now you might be a little frightened by that, like you're like, okay, what is that meaning? But we'll talk about that in a second here. And I'm just going to say A plus B here for the return, and then down here I'm going to say X is equal to sum it up. Oops, sum it up, and I'm going to put in some random values, maybe like 123 and like 8. That's obviously going to be 131 when you add those two together. But print x now, oops, x. And when I run this, of course, it's just going to give you 131 down there. Because this is just designed to add two things together, as the name suggests. So what we're doing here is we say this def thing, and def basically means we're defining a function, and then whatever comes after, so this sum it up, which normally would be like a variable or something, is now a function. Okay, it's not a variable, it's a function. And then you have to always have parentheses right after. Oops. You always have to have parentheses right after you just define a function, and then whenever you're calling it. And that's just to clarify to the code that this is in fact a function. And again, you don't have to have parameters in here, but if you want to do stuff inside of your function here, inside of your function code that uses items from the outside world, then you're going to want to have like A and B stuffed in here. Like here, let me give you an example of what it would be like if I didn't have parameters. Maybe you're just trying to do like, print stuff like this, and no parameters, and you just want some things printed off like, hi, I'm new here, what's going on, and socialism is cool. So, maybe we want to maybe we're like doing this a lot. Maybe we're saying these three things a lot, and we don't want to have to like keep changing it. So like, you know, you know, let's say I'm doing like a for loop, and I'm saying for x in range 20 or something. This is going a little bit longer than I had hoped, but and then we just want to do print stuff like this. Yeah, just like that. So if we run this here, oops, if we run this here, you're going to see it just prints that out 20 times. Or just running the function through. And in this case, like, you know, we don't have to like change anything new. If there's if we wanted to change this, like maybe socialism isn't cool. Maybe it's all about that libertarian socialism or something like that. I could change it right there, and it's gonna fix it all nice for me. You know, maybe I don't have a for loop here, but maybe it's like print stuff is in many different places throughout my code. Now I only have to change it in one place instead of having to keep looking around to see like where I might need to tweak something. So that's just an example of like if you don't have parameters and you don't care like if the you know that particular item is relevant to the code for like what you're doing, that might be one way of doing it. I'm gonna end this video here and then we'll talk about one more example in a minute.